For centuries, one name struck fear and awe into the hearts of all who heard it: Rome, an empire forged in iron and ambition, stretching from the misty shores of Britain to the sun-scorched sands of Mesopotamia. Its legions were the stuff of legend, a relentless, disciplined force that had crushed kingdoms and scattered armies for 500 years. They were invincible, a living embodiment of power, order, and civilization. The eagle standard wasn't just a banner. It was a symbol of an unshakable, eternal authority. But empires, no matter how mighty, are not eternal. And for Rome, the first cut, the wound that would fester and bleed for centuries, came not in a grand climactic battle near its heartland, but far away in a dark primordial forest. A place where the rules of Roman warfare, of civilization itself, meant nothing. This is the story of a battle that didn't just cost Rome 3 of its finest legions, but something far more precious: its myth of invincibility. This is the story of the Teutoburg Forest. The year is 09 AD. The Roman Empire is at its zenith under the watchful eye of Emperor Augustus. He had brought peace, the Pax Romana, after decades of brutal civil war. The frontiers were secure, the provinces were prosperous, and Roman power seemed absolute. In the untamed lands of Germania, across the Rhine River, the process of Romanization was well underway. The tribes were being pacified, taxed, and slowly absorbed into the imperial machine. The man tasked with overseeing this crucial frontier was Publius Quintilius Varus. He was a seasoned administrator, related by marriage to the emperor himself. He saw Germania not as a land of fierce, independent warriors, but as another province waiting to be tamed, just like Syria, where he had previously served with distinction. He moved through the German lands with 3 elite legions, the 17th, 18th, and 19th, along with auxiliary cohorts and a massive baggage train of civilians and families. It was a picture of Roman confidence, a mobile city cutting its way through the wilderness. Varus had no reason to suspect a thing. After all, his chief advisor, his trusted friend among the German nobles, was a man named Arminius. Arminius was the perfect Trojan horse. A prince of the Carusi tribe, he had been taken to Rome as a hostage in his youth. But unlike many others, he wasn't just subjugated. He was cultivated. He learned Latin, studied Roman military tactics, and was granted Roman citizenship. He even earned the prestigious rank of equestrian and served as a commander of German auxiliary troops within the Roman army. To Varus and the Roman high command, Arminius was proof that their system worked. He was a civilized German, a bridge between 2 cultures, loyal to the eagle. But beneath the veneer of Romanization, the heart of a German warrior beat with a burning desire for freedom. He saw Varus's administrative heavy-handedness, the imposition of taxes and Roman law, chafing his people. Secretly, he began to unite the fiercely independent and often warring German tribes. He used his intimate knowledge of Roman procedures and his personal relationship with Varus to lay a trap of unimaginable scale. In the autumn of 09 AD, as Varus prepared to move his 3 legions back to their winter camps along the Rhine, Arminius put his plan into motion. He fed Varus false intelligence reports of a minor, localized uprising in a remote area. It was the perfect bait. The supposed rebellion was located off the main, well-established Roman roads. To crush it quickly, Varus would have to take a shortcut, a path that Arminius knew intimately. A path that led directly into the dense, marshy, and treacherous Teutoburg Forest. Varus, trusting his loyal German ally completely, took the bait. He deviated from the safe route and marched his entire force, over 20,000 soldiers, plus thousands of civilians, into the dark woods. The Roman column, stretched out for miles, was a testament to its own vulnerability. Legions were designed for open field battles, where their disciplined formations could create a wall of shields and steel. In the tight, muddy confines of the forest, where heavy rain had turned the ground into a swamp, their formation broke. They were no longer a cohesive fighting force, but a long, struggling line of men and wagons trapped by the ancient trees. And then the forest itself came alive. Not with the minor rebels Varus expected, but with thousands of German warriors, united under Arminius's command. They burst from the trees, hurling javelins and striking with a terrifying ferocity. The Romans, weighed down by their armor and bogged down in the mud, could barely form a defensive line. Their cavalry was useless in the dense undergrowth. Their archers couldn't find clear lines of sight. It was a massacre. The Germans knew this terrain. They could strike and melt back into the woods, using guerrilla tactics that completely negated the Romans' conventional strengths. For 3 agonizing days, the slaughter continued. The Roman column, unable to retreat or advance, was whittled down piece by bloody piece. Varus, seeing the utter hopelessness of the situation, fell on his own sword, following the Roman tradition for defeated commanders. His senior officers followed suit. By the end of the 3rd day, the 17th, 18th, and 19th legions ceased to exist. Their eagle standards, the sacred symbols of Roman honor and power, were captured by the celebrating tribes. The news of the disaster sent shockwaves through Rome. The historian Suetonius wrote that Emperor Augustus was so devastated that he would bang his head against the walls of his palace, crying out, "Quintilius Varus, give me back my legions." It wasn't just the loss of 20,000 men. Rome had lost legions before, and would again. It was the psychological impact. The myth of the invincible Roman soldier had been shattered. 3 entire legions, complete with their revered eagles, had been utterly annihilated by a force the Romans considered disorganized barbarians. The numbers of the lost legions 17, 18, and 19 were never used again. They became a permanent, superstitious scar on the Roman military roll. The Rhine River, once seen as a temporary stopping point on the way to conquering all of Germania, now became a permanent, heavily fortified border. The dream of a Roman province stretching to the Elbe River died in that forest. Rome would seek revenge, of course. A few years later, the brilliant general Germanicus, son of Drusus, would lead a massive punitive campaign back into Germania. He inflicted several defeats on Arminius, and even managed to recover 2 of the 3 lost eagle standards. He found the site of the battle, a horrifying scene of bleached bones and skeletons nailed to trees. He gave the fallen Romans a proper burial. It was a moral victory, a balm for Rome's wounded pride. But Germanicus was recalled before he could finish the job. The strategic reality had set in. The cost of conquering and holding Germania was deemed too high. The Teutoburg forest had taught Rome a brutal lesson. There were limits to its power. This battle exposed a fundamental weakness. The empire's strength was in its organized, logistical approach to warfare. Take that away, put it in an environment where its rules didn't apply, and it could be bled, it could be broken. The Battle of the Teutoburg Forest wasn't the end of the Roman Empire, not by a long shot. Rome would stand for another 400 years. But it was a turning point. It marked the beginning of the end of relentless expansion. It was the first time the empire didn't just fail to conquer, but decided it couldn't conquer. The bleeding had begun. This wound, inflicted by a man they had trained and trusted, would never fully heal. It was a constant, nagging reminder that even the mightiest can fall, that invincibility is a myth, and that sometimes the forest fights back. The crack in the foundation of the empire had appeared, and though it would be patched and painted over for centuries, it would continue to spread, reminding us that no power, no matter how great, lasts forever. Thank you for watching. If you found this story of imperial hubris and rebellion fascinating, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next dive into the epic moments that shaped history. We'll see you next time.